Hello everyone, guys, girls, friends, families, haters, dogs, cats, gerbils, kids in the back of the car, and the people on the bus hearing this when you accidentally play it out loud. I'm Rach.
And I'm Faith. Welcome to the Is It Normal podcast.
We love it that you're here. Episode 6, baby!
Every single time. Let's do this.
Gentle and, lovely for the ears. So, show and tells. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Go on, you can go.
Mine, so obviously show and tells are like something we've seen, something we've done, or something we've made, I, last night, and you, I'm not saying it as if you went there, went to the golf range and hit some balls with some sticks. It is the technical term, I do believe. A driver, I learned that's the type of stick.
Pretty sure they're called bats.
Absolutely not.
I know, I'm joking.
I was like, you can't mock me with the wrong thing. We're actually called clubs. We don't offend the men. Not just men.
The golf men. The golf people.
And women.
That's why I said people.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
I was getting there, but I was just always a couple steps late. It was fun. Obviously, we're both quite
Professional golfers, yes.
Professionistic.
You heard it here first.
Perfectionistic? Perfectionistic. I can't even say the word. So there, it had its struggles.
Yes.
But I think, given the right circumstances, for example, if I think we just fixated on it for 7 hours straight, we'd be really good.
100%.
If we had just unlimited, we'd be so good.
Yeah.
But we didn't have
Well, that's what I like to believe anyway.
I was literally in my head where can I carve out time in my life to do this every day? What hobby will you
4 a.m. Rage driving range.
But anyway, had fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And frustrating.
It was also frustrating.
What more do you need from a hobby?
Yeah.
Fun, frustrating, and there's friendships because there's some other people.
So my show and tell is a bit of a weird one.
Beautiful, we love it.
It's just a guy on Instagram. But his name is Ollie Smither. But his Instagram is os.illustration and he's an illustrator. But he does these really cool videos where it's like a little reel. And it's so he's an illustrator, but a lot of the illustrations that he does, people get tattooed.
Oh, cool.
And he's very he lives in Devon, very outdoorsy, camper van, paddleboarding, hiking type vibes. And he does these little reels that are tattoo ideas for people that love insert things. So it's
going down golf range.
We should so submit that as an idea.
Going to the driving range.
He's got one that's the sun, mountains, hiking with friends, all these kind of things. But it's very all that vibe, and they're just really cool. Some of them are very detailed, quite complicated, and then he also does some kind of cute, smaller ones. So my show and tell is basically just I found him on Instagram, and now I'm this guy's the coolest person ever. But yeah, just he's a cool illustrator. Yeah. And I think it's a cool thing that I don't think I've really come across that before, where it's an illustrator that does a lot of tattoo designs but isn't a tattooist. Yeah. And that's really interesting. Okay, so polls.
Yes.
So we're going to look today at episode 4's polls, which is it normal to struggle to find your aesthetic? So the question that we asked was, do you think you could describe your aesthetic in 3 words? And we said also share them with us. Sadly, no one shared them with us.
Why don't you guys have friends?
The 4 options for answers were yes, easy, yes, but I need time, no, too hard, and no, never thought about it. We got a 50-50 split. So only 2 answers got answered. So 50% said yes, but I need time, and 50% said no, never thought about it.
That's fair.
I think that is pretty fair.
Because I feel like that would be me. I'd be I've never thought about it, I need some time, but I could. Yeah. So I'd be both of them, basically.
Yeah. I don't think anyone probably says yes easy. Because even I would say yes, but I need time. Some people
really know they're very specific.
Yeah. But if it's that specific, I wonder if they've already spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Fair, yeah.
In which case, yes, but I need time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of needing time to answer questions.
Yes.
What's today's question, Faye?
Today's question is it normal to overthink things?
Yeah.
Literally me overthinking if that's the right answer. Is that the question? I hope it is.
I think from that intro we can get to the conclusion that, well, I think this is biased because I think we're both probably quite overthinkery people.
Yeah.
Or I'm one extreme to the other. So like
literally you overthinking about whether you're an overthinker.
Shut up. But as in like when it comes to like sending a text of like importance, I'll either like ask for it, send it instantly, or I'll look at it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can be a bit of both. Yeah. But I would say overthinking for very specific things.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair to caveat it at the start.
Yeah.
That we are both a bit
biased.
Overthinking-y. But also I do think we should point out that if you're listening to a podcast called Is It Normal to Overthink, then maybe you also are an overthinker.
Yeah. Fair point. What would you say to an overthinker? Stop it.
Yeah. Stop overthinking.
Honestly, the amount of people it's like, stop thinking about it. And I'm like, how? What? Shut up. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do also think
I get
that
so annoyed.
Maybe that is part of the skill, or one of the things you have to learn as an overthinker is like, how do I force myself to stop thinking about this? Yeah. Whether that's like distraction. Distraction's the only option I can think of. But do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is that okay? If I'm overthinking something, I need to just go for a run, or I need to do something creative, or I need to whatever does that for you, takes your mind off things.
So what helps you? Like, say you were in a bit of a spiral about something. Maybe like a communication issue with someone, or something in work, or a relationship thing, or like, name scenario. What do you do? What does overthinking look like for you? Take us through the journey of overthinking. So let's pretend something's happened.
Okay.
So what kind of scenario would you overthink about? Like, what's your general?
Maybe like if someone sends a message but doesn't like fully caveat.
Yeah.
What, like, if everything's okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, like you get a message like, hey, can you call me?
Yes. I was gonna say the other day you had one. Oh, so yeah.
I'm like, what does that mean?
I need like a code red, a code amber, a code green.
Yeah, like is this like, well, technically I'm in the middle of something, but I need to drop everything and call you, or is this like, hey, fancy a chat, or like, what's the deal here?
It's like, should we go for lunch, or we're fired? Like,
yeah,
where am I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's happened.
Yeah.
Someone's messaged you saying, hey, can we talk? Mm-hmm. Or we need to chat, or call me, whatever. Mm-hmm. What does that then look like for you?
Probably looks like not really being able to get anything else done. So I just get a bit like, okay, everything is on hold until this gets sorted, because there's no closure over it.
Yeah.
It's quite, to be fair, this example is quite an extreme one. Generally, if it's a bit less panic-inducing, it will just be a case of like, my head doesn't feel clear. Like, it's just kind of like, I feel a bit foggy because I'm a bit like, I'm always going back to it, kind of thing.
It's taking up space in your brain.
So either way it's taking up space, whether that's like it's taking up all of the space in my brain or like half of the space in my brain. I'm like ping-ponging around things. But typically I think what helps me most is, sometimes it's just about resolving it for me. Like, if there is a way I can resolve it, or do what's in my power to get me closer to a resolution. So for me, in that scenario of like, I've had a message, give me a call, it is about taking control of that and messaging back, being like I'm in the middle of something right now. If this is urgent, then absolutely I can drop stuff. If not, let me know like when you need to talk about this. Also, can I just ask, is everything actually okay? Do you know what I mean? Like, actually communicating back this kind of doesn't really fully give me a picture, so I don't really know how to respond to it. And then other stuff would be like if it's something that I know I can't get resolution over, or like it's gonna last a couple of days or something like that, then it is about distracting myself, and normally that looks like, or clearing my head, so normally that looks like exercise for me, or doing something creative, or putting a film on, or do you know what I mean, just doing something that's like normal routine. Okay, so what about you? Same scenario, what would it look like for you?
I would literally drop everything and be like, hello, ring. And I'd be having a slight panic, and then they'd pick up and they'd be like, oh no, I was just wondering. Okay, babes, I'm in the middle of something, I'll phone you back like when I'm actually, do you mean like depending on. My mum's terrible for it. I've got something I need to tell you, but like don't want to ring you when you're in the middle of something, like ring you when you can. And I'm literally like, but generally it's really bad stuff. She only does that when it's actually bad stuff. And I'm like, you may as well have just rung me, because she's like, oh, I didn't want to ring you while you're in Aldi's and give you bad news. And I was like, but I'm so I'm already taking it as bad news. Yeah, I get but it's now I'm now thinking of every terrible thing that could possibly happen in the entirety of Earth. Yeah. Instead of just crying in Aldi's. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I get both sides of it. I do get the like, hey, I wanna ring you about something bad, get to the car kind of thing. So I'm probably, it's quite a bad scenario actually, isn't it? Because it is quite panic inducing. Yeah. Well, maybe not for normal people. But what is normal?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it is just my brain, but I feel like if anybody received a message that was like that,
I go through every worst case scenario. Yeah. So I would go through, like, it depends who it is. So if it's my boss, I'm like, oh my gosh, have I done anything wrong? Yeah. If it's family, I'm like, oh, what has there been? What tragedy has happened? Yeah. Basically. If it's a friend, I'll be like, oh, I upset them maybe. Or like they'd have plans. They want to make plans. Like, I don't think friends would cause as much stress. It would more be like, oh, maybe they want to do something spontaneous. Yeah. But yeah, generally I can be quite like a, not always worst case scenario, but very much will play out scenarios in my head. Whether they're good or bad. I think like overthinking has quite like a negative connotation. But I can overthink about positive things too. Which also I don't think is helpful. Because I then like make up a whole fantasy, and then if that doesn't go the way I planned it in my head, I'm like, you're not following the script. This isn't the script I set out for us. What are you doing? So I guess that's why it's a negative connotation, isn't it? But over or under anything is, again, shock horror, what we come to in every single episode is balance. Yeah, literally. And also definitions. I'm going to Google it. Ooh, let's see what the definition of overthinking is. That's an excellent idea. But yeah, I think I find the term really invalidating. Whether I hear people use that to other people or people use it to me, like, I think maybe that's why I've got the context of, I think it's a negative connotation when I hear the word overthinking. Yeah. Because it's always used in a really, like, write-off kind of way. Like, oh, you're just overthinking about it. Oh, stop overthinking. Stop it, you're overthinking. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, but there's probably a reason. Yeah. Shall we get to the root? Yeah. So, Merriam-Webster says, to think too much about something, to put too much time into thinking about or analysing something in a way that is more harmful than helpful. Okay. So it has got like negative in that. Obviously that's only one definition. I think, interestingly, what you just said about invalidating. Yeah, about it being invalidating. I wonder if that's just because generally we don't really know what to do with overthinking. Like, we don't really know how to solve it. So, like, if someone that you're around is overthinking something, like, how do you help them in that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, maybe that's why people are quick to dismiss it. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, I don't know, you're just overthinking it. Yeah. As if telling you that you're overthinking it is helpful when... Because I guess maybe some people overthink and don't realise that they're overthinking it.
and other people overthink and are painfully aware that they're overthinking it, but don't know how to get out of that loop.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like to me. To me, it feels like when I'm overthinking something, it feels like a cyclical thing.
Yeah.
Of like, I literally go around the same logic because there is no solution, typically, is when I'm overthinking something, or there's no resolution. Like, in the scenarios you're talking about, it's a made-up thing, so you don't know, like, it's a future thing, so you don't actually know what will happen. And same with, like, the miscommunication thing in terms of, like, give me a call. You don't know why they're asking. You're trying to mind read, like, what's going on, or you're trying to predict the future, or whatever, but none of those things actually have a solution or a resolution or a truth to them. So then, like, it just does leave you in, like, this cyclical logic, doesn't it? Which feels like I always, like, find myself thinking thoughts, and I'm like, yeah, I've thought this before. Like, I've been here before. Come on. Like, round and round, same roundabout.
Come on, Bray. Come up with some new problems.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can overthink in short-term situations. Like, they've not texted me back.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Versus, like, what are my future career prospects?
Yeah.
Like, there's a big, do you mean there's a big shift between both, isn't there? There's a big gap between both.
I think, like, because essentially anything that you can think about, you can overthink about.
Yeah.
So, like, you're right. Like,
I'm overthinking
the range.
What I'm trying to say so much.
The range of potential things that you could overthink about is massive. Like, you could overthink a purchase.
Yes.
You could overthink a marriage.
Yeah.
Like, you could overthink future plans. You, like, literally anything.
Yeah. Which is when, I guess, anxiety kind of comes into it.
Yeah.
Because I guess how much... So it's that thing of, am I overthinking enough to cause harm? So am I overthinking, like, did I put the bins out? And if that's like did I put the bins out? I can't remember if I put the bins out. I'm pretty sure I walked out with the bins. Like, oh, did I put the recycling? Is it the right bin week? Is it, you know, is it to the point where, like, you can't sleep? So, like, how much, because although I'm an overthinker, like, generally it doesn't really affect me in, like, sleep or, you know, like, long, like, you know, actual health stuff. So, although I'm an overthinker, it doesn't necessarily affect me in, like, a negative way of I lose sleep over something. But anxiety, I guess, comes into it when it starts to be quite, like, a harmful behaviour.
Yeah.
And anxiety is basically, again, not professional, no definitions here, but anxiety, or a part of anxiety, is our brain trying to protect us for the future. So if we can try and play out all these future scenarios, it's our brain trying to protect us and keep us safe in them future scenarios.
Yeah.
Because if I can play out how I'm gonna, like, stop someone attacking me in the street, or, like, have self-defense, if I'm overplaying that in my head, then when someone attacks me in the street, I might have a chance to defend myself.
Because at least I've thought about it.
Yeah, so that's, like, because obviously back in the day, cavemen, etc., and women, they would protect themselves because everything was trying to kill them. You know, saber-toothed tigers, like, the weather, poisonous berries, I don't know. And the way that they sustained life, the way that they kept on living and reproducing, is because they learned from their mistakes.
You want the three ultimate threats: saber-toothed tigers, the weather, poisonous berries.
They have legitimate
the three overall categories. No, it's very legit.
You try being a caveman?
It's very legit. It's just guys just tickled me.
You better hope this train of thought comes back around. That's the first cohesive thing I've said all day. I can't remember where it was. In order to keep on reproducing, keep on living, they had to learn from their mistakes, didn't they? So they had to replay things over their head. So, my spear wasn't sharp enough when that saber-toothed tiger came. Next time I'm going to sharpen my spear loads.
Yeah.
So the whole point of overthinking for caveman was to survive.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, these berries look like this. Let me, like, you know, whatever it may be that was trying to kill them. But because they overthought, because they learnt from their mistakes, because they replayed scenarios, they then became better at living, better at being cavemen, and prolonged, you know, their lives and then could reproduce. And then us. Obviously, our brains haven't really changed that much.
Yeah.
So, like, we still have fight, flight, or freeze. Like, we still have survival modes. And in that, I think part of that is replaying what caused the fight, flight, or freeze. And I think that's quite significant to understand where it comes from. Like, to understand, I'm getting anxious about something, I'm having, like, you know, heart palpitations or something, I've got adrenaline pumping around my body, I want to know what caused that and what I can do about that. So if I have to overthink, like, I have to then think about what was the thing that caused that, how can I avoid that in the future, But obviously when it comes to getting a text and you're getting a heart, you know, beating really, really fast and adrenaline pumping around your body, like, that's not super helpful. Yeah. If a saber-toothed tiger is coming at you, super helpful.
Have you seen those the posts on Instagram about, like, sadly my brain can't tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and an email from my boss?
Me, honestly. Yeah.
I guess we've talked about, like, looking forward, like, future stuff and whatever, but you've touched then on, like, as in overthinking about stuff in the future. But you've touched us then on overthinking stuff that's happened. Yeah. Because I guess there's a part of me that feels like overthinking about stuff in the future, or, like, overthinking about a decision, almost feels a little bit more valid because
you can do.
I've got to do something about it. Like, do you know what I mean? I could live out that scenario if I wanted to.
There's some level of control.
Yeah. And I guess some level of choice that I have to make a decision about. Whereas, what about overthinking stuff that's happened? Like, do you feel like you regularly overthink, like, things that have happened in the past, or ways that you were, or, like...
Not really. I'm quite good at not having regrets, and I've got quite a lot of things I probably should regret. But I think maybe that's where being a Christian comes into it, because, like, I don't have to hold on to that stuff anymore. Yeah. That's not mine to hold on to anymore. Yeah. So I think, like, I can give that stuff to God and be like, hey, you can deal with that. Like, that's not mine anymore to deal with. So I still get cringed out by myself. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that was embarrassing. Oh, whoops. Or, like, you know, stuff I've said or done or whatever. So sometimes I still get them moments where I'd be in the shower and I'd be like, oh, that was awful. That was so embarrassing. That was not good. Yeah. But then I'm like, well, what can you do? Like, and then I move on pretty quickly. I think I'm very much, like, now focused in my overthinking. Not now focused, but, like, scenario focused. So I don't really think about the past that much. Not to the point of it being harmful anyway. And also I've got a terrible memory, so that really helps. I don't think I think loads about the future because, like we talked about last episode, I literally have no scope for what my future looks like. Yeah. So I have no, like, thing to build off, if that makes sense.
Like, no structure.
Yeah, like, no, like, this is my next path. So because I have no idea what my future looks like, I can't really overthink it. So I'm very much, like, current scenario based overthinking. If we're being, like, completely real, that's normally relationship stuff, or, like, when it comes to men, which has gotten loads better. So I guess we could go into a little bit of, like, attachment styles. So I would say, like, I used to have, like, quite, like, an anxious attachment style, maybe, I don't know, but it would be very much like if someone hasn't texted me back, it would consume me. Like, it would be, like, it would change my mood, it would consume how I feel, like, it would be really powerful. That's when the overthinking would be really like, oh, they hate me, what did I say, is it because I put a full stop, not an emoji, da-da-da-da. Like, that would be quite a powerful force of, like, doom. But currently, like, that's not my situation, that's not my scenario. So if a guy doesn't text me back, I'm like, that's fine. So and even in the like day-to-day not texting me back, like, maybe they're busy, like, it's just a much more logical response. And if they're not for me, then they're not for me, and that's fine. So like, in the actual, it's been 2 hours since a message or whatever, I'm not overthinking that, because I'm like, they might be busy, they might be tired, they might not want to talk to me, that's fine. But in the wider scale of like being ghosted or someone not talking to you or whatever, I'm like, that's fine if they're not for me. So like I've gotten so much better with the overthinking of communication with a potential romantic partner. Like loads better. And I don't know if that's like just maybe knowing my worth more, because you said like what, how or why has that changed. I think knowing I don't have control over other people. My boss actually gave me a coaster, and it was the circle of control. So it's like what I can control is in the circle, what I can't control is on the outside of the circle, and all the stuff inside the circle is like my attitude, like my thoughts, my like how I treat other people, what I wear, what I do, and on the outside is like the weather, people's opinions of me, like and I think that's just really helpful. I keep on reiterating that to myself, of like I actually can't control anything, like really, in the grand scheme. So when it comes to overthinking, I think like, okay, where is this scenario in my circle of control? Where is this scenario, and what can I actually do about it? And what do I just have to lay to rest? Like, do you have any habits that have helped you with overthinking? Like, I know we talked about obviously going outside and exercising and stuff, but like in the moment, so say you're in work, you can't go out for a run. Like in the moment.
Well, I could.
I have free will.
See me just like fleeing out of the office.
Just that images of you running like Phoebe from Friends. Like.
In my like work clothes. With like a headset still on.
Your tote bag, which is literally like this big.
So I definitely think that, I know we've said this in a lot of the episodes, but I do think it's also like an age thing. So like I think for me, when I was in my teenage years, like everything would embarrass me. Everything, I'd be overthinking every single thing I said in every single conversation. I'd be trying to fall asleep and I'd like replay things that happened in the day and whatever. But I do think that you do kind of grow out of that a little bit. Like I think that's part of just becoming an adult.
And I think it's because you don't care as much about what people think about you. Which is probably why then you're not like, oh, do they think I'm really embarrassing? Because you're not as invested about them.
And I think something that's helped me, so obviously that's helped in terms of like you get older, that becomes less of a thing just naturally because of the way life progresses, you care less. But I think something that's helped me like a little bit more, like it's a little bit more intentional, is that just noticing how like what I think about other people. So this is why I think maybe a couple of episodes ago, I think it was the aesthetics episode, I made a comment about how like I don't really care if one of my friends shows up wearing something that I wouldn't wear, because like I'm not wearing it. So cool, and I like to see people expressing themselves, and isn't that cool that they're going against the flow and doing something different, and like that we're just different, right? So in that way, noticing in that scenario, oh, I actually don't care if I don't like your outfit, or I can not want to wear your outfit and still like it. Do you know what I mean? And the same in other scenarios, like sometimes in work, someone else will say something or do something, and I can see, oh, that's embarrassing. But like I don't think about it, I don't hold it against them. I'm sat here saying that I can't actually remember any specific things, any specific people that I know have said or done that would have been embarrassing. But like we all around people when they do embarrassing things, like, but no one actually cares. Do you know what I mean? I think like almost internalizing that and remembering I don't care if other people, like I was in the park the other day and there was, this happens quite a lot now, if I'm in the park, lots of the time there'll be people recording TikToks, doing their little dances, doing it on like over and over and over again as they consistently mess up and do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. And like I could never, well I probably could, but depends who I'm with. But like I'm not one for like going out doing dances in the middle of the park. Like that's not really my vibe. But like I don't care if they're in the park doing that. Like so what?
And actually interesting, you're like good for them.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
I couldn't do that. You're so brave. Like,
Yeah.
well done. And I think, like, a lot of the time we actually think really positively about people who are strangers. And, like, for example, if someone's in the gym, I'm like, that ass. Wow.
Yeah.
I could never.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not thinking, like, oh, what's she wearing that for? I'm like,
Yeah.
she looks so good.
Mm.
Like, so yeah, that's a really interesting thing, like, actually just noticing that no, and it's that thing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody cares about you. But, like, nobody cares about you. Not nobody cares about you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
that beautiful thing of, like, the people that love you regardless of whether or not you do embarrassing things.
Yeah.
The people who don't love you don't matter. What's the saying? Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter.
Nailed it.
First time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really significant when it comes to overthinking.
Yeah.
And even, like, I'd be embarrassed to sometimes be like, yo, I'm really overthinking this. Like, I've got some friends who I would be like, they'd be like, you know, what's going on for you, whatever. I'll mention something briefly and that'll be it. And I've got other friends, I'll have a 3-hour conversation about that thing that I mentioned briefly.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know this is a safe space for me to be like, hey, my brain is going overtime.
Yeah.
And I'm a verbal processor, like, da da da, and then this and then that, and what if this and what if that, poor friends. Sorry. But it comes in waves. I wouldn't say like I'm a consistent overthinker. I think it like comes in waves based on scenarios.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things that's really helpful is noticing my what if thoughts. Like, what if isn't generally a positive thing. Like, what if I crash the car? What if the plane crashes? What if I forget this? What if I don't do that? Like, what if is generally quite a negative thing for me. So it's like, what if I don't crash the car? What if the plane doesn't crash? What if I don't forget? Like, it's trying to, like, flip every negative thought I have for a positive one.
Yeah.
What if they don't find me attractive? What if they do? Like, and it's trying to really just, like, flip my brain into being like, let's seek out the positive things. One way to do that, gratitude journaling. 3 positive things that happened in this day.
Yeah.
The sky was nice. I liked my outfit. I had a good lunch. Do you know what I mean? Or I met with some friends, saw someone I love, did some colouring. I don't know. So, like, I think training our brains to see the positive also helps us then in every situation where we then start to notice the positives.
And I guess that's interesting, because I guess what I'm saying is training your brain to see the neutrals. Where,
which
like,
is which is probably the first step.
Yeah, like, it's not a negative or a positive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Because again, about body positivity, body neutrality is the step before that. Like, and that's a great place to live in.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, oh, I love my body. It's just I just don't hate my body. I'm okay with my body. I'm grateful for my body. Yeah. I don't yet love it. Whatever it may be. So it's the same thing with our brains. I think, again, it just comes to being kinder to ourselves. Like, I'm so mean to myself when I'm overthinking. Because I'm like, this is embarrassing. Like, grow up. Like, get control of your brain. This is ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But then I'll be driving. And it's just like, it's probably when I'm driving is like the worst. So my brain's just like... But also, I don't really have a cohesive thought ever. So, like...
It's just a mishmash.
So yeah, so also, like, it's just like, I guess it's just like, you know, like whack-a-mole?
Yeah.
So like if I'm driving, like whack-a-mole is my thoughts. So I'm just like, bloop, 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 bloop. And then it'll just be, if I'm overthinking it, the mole will just look the same.
Yeah. So
it'll be like, it'll just come up more frequently. The overthinking mole will just come up more frequently than the how I put the bins out. Did I do that? How I need to wash my dishes, I need to go to the gym. That scenario. Like, and then, do you know what I mean? So, like, the other things pop up, but it's just that thing pops up a lot more.
That's so funny, because I would describe my thoughts when I'm overthinking more like a pinball machine. Yeah. Just like... Just like...
Erratic.
Yeah. Just like... And like... I think it's because it's the same thing, and it follows a route. So it's like following a logical route, but it never actually gets anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like... Do you know
what I think really bothers me? Is because, like, I'll come to a conclusion, and I'll come to an answer, and I'll come to, like, okay, this is what I've got to do. I've got to wait, or I've got to be patient, or, like, I'll come to, like, a logical ending, and it'll start again. So
Yeah.
like, it's that thing of like, I've had this thought before.
Yes.
And I'm like, we know the answer here. Let's just get to the end, which is I have to wait and be patient. Like,
yeah.
why does my brain not just accept that?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to then start rethinking it? At that point, I do just say to my brain, stop it.
Yeah.
I literally do just say stop.
Yeah.
When I'm getting down a little like imaginary path, I literally will be in the car and be like, stop it. Yeah, sometimes I literally just tell my brain, like, stop it. We've been down this route before.
Yeah.
And like almost like compassionate, like, you know, like compassionate parenting.
Yeah.
But like myself.
Yeah.
And be like, we've been down this route before. We know where it goes. We know the answer.
Yeah.
I need you to now think about something else, or like go see a friend or whatever.
Yeah.
But also this whole thing of like, you're having a thought and then saying to yourself, oh, I noticed that I'm having a thought. And then it's like, oh, I noticed that I'm noticing myself having a thought, and it kind of like detaches you a bit from that scenario, overthinking situation.
Yeah. So one question that I have, what do you think is the difference between overthinking and worrying? Do you think there is a difference? Because I know we talked a bit about anxiety. I'd see anxiety as more of a broad category than worry, but overthinking does feel very similar to worrying to me.
I think I'd kind of define it by how much it consumes you. So like, I can worry like, oh, did I put the bins out? I don't know. Oh, I guess I'll see when I get home. Like, that's a worry. To me, worrying is kind of like, oh, I'm a bit worried about, oh, I'll talk to someone about it, or, you know, there's like a next step. I'm worried this is the next step, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of overarching it'll be fine thing. Whereas I think to me, overthinking is like, I'm actually getting angry at myself, or like I'm actually getting consumed, or like I actually can't think about anything else. Yeah. Because like, if I'm a bit worried about something, I'll be a bit worried. Say for example, like a pet is sick or something, I might be a bit worried, but I can do my work. Like I can focus, I can you know, have conversations with people that aren't around that thing. Yeah. But I think overthinking, like, it consumes my day-to-day. So like, I am distracted when I'm in work. I will be talking about it with people who are like close to me or whatever. It becomes bigger and bigger. Yeah. Because I'm thinking about it, but then because I'm talking about it, it then becomes even bigger. Do you mean like? Yeah. I think it grows. Yeah. I think worry can grow into overthinking. I would say worrying is like a step below overthinking. And I say overthinking is a step below anxiety. But they all are basically enmeshed.
They're all the same thing.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, that's interesting. I also do think sometimes that these like terms can be like generational as well. I don't think maybe older generations than us would say, I'm anxious about this thing.
Absolutely not.
Or I'm overthinking this thing. Yeah. But they would say I'm worried. Yeah. And I think, or it's concerning me, or I don't know what, like whatever. So I wonder if also there is just like, in each generation there's different ways of expressing that feeling.
Because like
regardless.
With the kids I work with, I'm trying to get away from anxiety. So I'm trying to get away from that use of that language. Yeah. So it's like, you don't have anxiety because that's clinically diagnosable. Yeah. You're 8 and you're worried that your mum didn't put crisps in your packed lunch. Yeah. Like, that's not anxiety. That's a worry. Yeah. And I think like, so it's almost, we're now having to like go back on ourselves. Yeah. Because the generations before us were so opposed to it. We're like going back to it of being like, stop diagnosing yourselves with things that are actually really serious, really like debilitating conditions. Yeah. So yeah, trying to use that language of like, I have a really big worry right now. I think it's that whole thing of like, oh, I have it, like, how big is your worry? And they'll be like, oh, I've got a small worry, or I've got a really big worry. Yeah. And then like, so they can categorize the worries, or like, and how much then they need to prioritize that worry. Yeah. So like going to comp, like going to high school and stuff, like that's a really big worry. So like, let's talk about that, let's deal with that, Yeah. But yeah, I forgot my quote today. It is probably a smaller worry. And I think, basically, I think the amount of anxious feeling you have about the worry just needs to be in line with the size of the worry. So for example, like if the worry is small, you can feel a small amount of like anxiety in your body.
Yeah.
But if the problem's big, then you can feel a larger amount of anxiety in your body and how your body responds to that.
Yeah.
When it becomes an issue is if there's a small worry and then your body's having a really big anxious response to that.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously there's some misalignment somewhere.
Yeah.
That needs like dealing with. I think language is really important when it comes to labelling how we're feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think, again, like you're saying, some of these things are just a very normal part of everyday human experience. So like living a life with no form of overthinking or anxiety or worry or whatever language, whatever word you want to call it, living a life not ever feeling that is not realistic.
No.
Because there are
and
things
it's not healthy.
It's not right. There are things that you should feel.
Yeah. You should be worried about, like if you're.
Yeah,
if you
it's like being nervous, isn't it? It's like it makes sense that you're nervous before a big interview.
Yeah.
Because it matters, and that's your body telling you that this situation matters.
Yeah.
Like
and
that makes sense.
If you're getting anxious about getting hit by a car, you look both ways before you cross the road.
Yeah.
Like it gives us ways to live.
Yeah.
In a healthy way as well when it's like managed correctly.
And also like it can help you because like the adrenaline, sometimes that's what we need. You know, like I was nervous before doing a big run. Like my body needs it. Or I was nervous before doing it. Like I'm talking about exercise because it's physical.
Yeah.
Like nervous before doing a really heavy lift or something. Yeah, because your body needs it, because your body's trying to prepare you to succeed in that and stay safe in that situation.
But like we said, can be helpful, can be harmful, and it's finding that balance. And if you're tilting over more towards unhelpful, then maybe do some of the stuff we talked about today. Go get some help. Talk to people you love. You know.
And also, I think like a massive first step is even recognising that you're overthinking it. Like I know we've said that can feel a bit invalidating, but I think also sometimes it is about stopping in your tracks and being like, hang on a minute, I'm overthinking this.
I recognise this feeling.
Yeah, like okay, I can see that I'm walking in circles. Okay, cool. Because at least that recognising it allows you to do something about it or be proactive or whatever. Whereas if you don't even realise that you're overthinking it, that's when you're likely to just continue overthinking and overthinking and overthinking.
Labelling can be helpful.
And I guess, again, it depends what kind of person you are. Because, like, generally, if I'm overthinking something, I will be very aware of the fact that I'm overthinking it. But there are scenarios in which there have been things that I've only realised, like, a couple of hours in or a couple of days in or whatever. Oh, actually, I'm thinking about this quite a lot. Maybe that's not very helpful. So I guess it depends which way you tend to lean as well. But just seeing it for what it is can be helpful.
Yeah, I think it's how much it debilitates you. Because I like picking a meal deal will literally take me 10 minutes. And I'm like, this is actually making me really angry.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get out of that.
Yeah.
Like it's literally the most minor detail of the day.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the amount of thought and effort that goes into like me picking that is quite atrocious. Because if I'm like generally feeling pretty anxious or overwhelmed or overthinking what, trying to make a small decision about like, do I go to the gym after work or not? What do I have for this meal deal? What should I do when I get home? Like that, or like even smaller decisions than that, they feel huge.
Yeah.
And not because of the outcome necessarily, but just that effort of having to decide. Yeah. That like responsibility that I don't know what it is. But
so all your capacity's already been used up.
Yes.
There's none left.
Yeah. There's none. There's none. I'm pretty sure you asked me something. I think you asked me about food the other day, and I was like, bro, I can't. Like I literally. Yeah. I think it's because it's almost like I don't care. So it's not that I care too much. So it's not that I care so much because I'm going to be disappointed by the meal deal. Yeah. It's because I literally could not care less because I'm so depleted. Yeah. So like, it just comes into loads of different facets of life. Yeah. And I'm really sorry because I always do this again at the start of the podcast. I'm like, I just have like this one time about this one thing, about this one scenario. And I'm like, oh no, wait. Never mind. It's in my entire life. I'm always fickle, man, fickle. But I think it's just a memory thing. Like, when I start talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. Actually, this is my life. Who am I? But yeah, so that's a like literally mute point, but just goes back to the kind of, is that a worry, overthinking, or anxiety? If I can't pick a meal deal, it's all of them most likely.
Yeah. And I guess that's...
Do some deep breathing. Honestly, change your life.
But again, not to say the same thing again, but in that scenario, being able to know yourself and know, like, okay, I've got a lot going on right now. This decision, like, I actually don't care about this decision. I know that I can't make this decision just because, like, it's not about me. It's not that I'm incapable of making this decision.
Yeah, that's important.
It's just I've got a lot of stuff going on right now. So of course this.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite
it's
logical.
Gentle parenting. It's honestly gentle parenting
literally.
yourself.
Because I'm quite logical. For me, being able to understand, oh yeah, this makes sense that I feel this way, is really helpful. Even if that is like, I've had like 10 things go wrong today. So all of my emotional energy, all of my resilience has been already used up. There is none left for the fact that my go-to drink in the meal deal section is not in stock. Like, I don't have, like, and just being able to, and I know this is so much easier said than done, because normally if you're in that state of mind, you are like, you're feeling a lot of things. Yeah. But being able to recognise, even if it's just that you're able to reflect on that situation, and kind of like look at yourself and be like, I see why that happened. I see that there was a lot going on. I see that in that scenario, I just didn't have much capacity left. And I think it teaches us self-compassion to be able to do that. But I think also it equips us to be kind to other people, because then your assumption isn't, why can't you just make a decision? Your assumption is like, oh, I see myself in you. I see that you're overwhelmed by stuff that's going on right now. I see that you've got a lot on your plate. Or I see that you've had a busy day, or I see that you've not slept very well, or insert whatever. Therefore, like, that makes sense. I can understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it helps us with our empathy. Because I do think overthinking is one of those things that's it can be quite tricky to be empathetic about. Yeah. If actually, either you don't really overthink, or you don't really overthink about that particular type of, like,
it doesn't
scenario.
show up in your life that way.
Yeah. But I guess we just have to be kind to each other. Be nice.
Just be nice, guys. To yourself and others.
Literally.
So, I think to summarise, you're definitely not alone if you're an overthinker. If you're not, honestly, good for you. I'm like generally so happy.
Teach us your ways.
Honestly, leave a comment.
What are the odds the comments literally just gonna be like, just don't think about it.
Just stop thinking about it. Oh, thanks, Beth. I'll try that next time. But yeah, so you're definitely not alone in it, because I'm pretty sure it's not just me or Faith who are overthinkers. And it may look very different in different people's lives. It has a lot of different connotations and contexts. So I hope we didn't offend or diminish, or, you know, that's not our purpose. But we're really glad that you listened. We hope you enjoyed. We hope there's some helpful tips. So kind of thinking about what's in my circle of control, what's not in my circle of control. Sort of like gentle parenting yourself, or like having compassionate conversations with yourself when you're in moments of struggle to navigate, actually, is this a positive or a negative for my state of mind? If it's a negative, I am actually going to try and stop. And these are the different ways that I can distract myself. And also that thing of like having a thought, noticing you're having a thought, to try and separate yourself from the thoughts. And again, understanding that there's context in them thoughts. So if you're having a bad day, if you're run down, if you're a bit ill, if you're a bit tired, work's a bit rough, like, you're also going to feel rubbish, and then you're going to feel a bit maybe worried or anxious, and then the overthinking will be bigger. Like, it's just understanding that there's context around all them things. But you're not alone in that. You're not alone in the struggle of that. And we're all just trying to get a little bit better. But like, also no pressure. Like, only get better if it helps you, you know? I hate the pressure of everyone having to be 100% better all the time. So yeah, that's a brief higgledy-piggledy summary of this today's episode. If you would like to decide what one of our episodes is about, then please email us at theisitnormalpodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us, comment on our stuff on TikTok and Instagram at theisitnormalpodcast. Send us your thoughts, queries, concerns. It can be a whole episode, or it can just be like little thing.
Yeah.
Little one, just little, ooh, is it normal?
If you do send us anything, make sure you let us know if you'd like to be anonymous or not. We're happy to give you a little shout out, or not tell people who you are. Whatever. We're cool.
We're literally so not cool.
Yeah. We don't mind.
We hope you don't overthink it.
But yeah, we hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we hope that you'll come back for another episode next week. And yeah,
like, comment, subscribe,
follow us on Spotify
and Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yay.
Love you, bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Oh yeah.
Every little thing I do.
Every little thing she does is magic.
Why is my brain broken? I'm just going to drink really loudly for a second. Because you're thinking.
Yeah.
Intruder, Joss. Intruder, Joss. And that's okay.
I'm not sure I understand.
It's not about you.